Hello everyone. I welcome you to the first session of the March month Science and Tech. Now this session is specifically dedicated to coronavirus and that is COVID-19. A few of the details such as with respect to SARS and the MERS we'll also discuss because these are also the family of the coronavirus. Now as you know that many of the things with respect to the covid-19 are evolving, right? For example, development of the vaccine, different initiative. For example, in the governance area we have discussed covid related specific news, right? So many of the things with respect to covid are evolving, so it is better to see them in a more, because now the exam is in October, right? So it is more it's a preferable approach to see things from the hindsight rather than reading everything in the March month, then some development happens in April month, then the May month. Then we don't have to do that. When we are discussing something with respect to corona, we can see it from the hindsight, so that gives us a better perspective. So now we'll discuss some very basic stuff which are in the news, and if the things evolve upon it, then we'll discuss it later on, right? So let us start. So first with the coronavirus. So coronavirus is basically what? A family of virus. If you remember, when the COVID-19 struck, so many of the people were showing the biology books, right? Or biology books where the coronavirus was mentioned. So it is not that it is something new. In fact, coronavirus is just a family of virus. Within that family, earlier disease that we have seen, that is SARS and the MERS. Okay. So it's a common type of virus, and the common problem it causes in the upper respiratory tract illness. That is one of the symptoms of the COVID-19 is the breathlessness, the problem in taking the inhaling, right? So, right. So for right. So two of the other causes cause SARS and the MERS. So before SARS appeared, the coronavirus had not been particularly dangerous to the human being. Now it is being, many of the viruses are transmitting among the animals, animal to animal. Many of the, now finally from animal to the human, when it transmitted, then that disease becomes the zoonotic disease. And secondly, why this happens? Because of the interactions among the animal and the humans are increasing. For example, we have read about the wet markets, right? Especially specific to the Chinese wet market, right? There some exotic animal kept in a very exotic animal are consumed, then the animals are kept in a very unhygienic places, and those are the causes for the transmission from animal to animal and more from animal to the humans as well, right? So what is coronavirus? Just quickly let us see. So they are the large family of the viruses which causes illness in the animals and as well as in the human, right? In the human, several coronavirus are known to cause that MERS, Middle East respiratory syndrome, and severe acute respiratory syndrome. Okay, so mainly they target the respiratory system. Okay, then so as I was telling you that they're called the zoonotic disease, and the spillover means from animal to animal, and primary animal to human, then human to human. So that spillover happens because of the host or the factor. For example, the virus which was circulating in the animal to animal, some mutation happened in that virus, and because of that mutation that transferred from animal to human, then increased contact between the humans and the animals, right? So for example, SARS coronavirus is thought to evolve from the infecting bats, some civet cats, to humans in China. Then MERS evolved from bats to camels in the human. So majority of the time it is the source is said to be the bats, then some intermediary animal is there. For example, for the COVID-19, pangolins are said to be the intermediaries animals to humans. So for SARS it was cats, for MERS it is camel. And if you have seen recently, some people have started killing the bats. So I was watching one of the shows by one of the in the Indian on the YouTube. Then researcher who has done PhD on the bats, he was saying that it is wrong to kill the bats for it, because bats are only the source. There are many processes, or not all the bats. There are many species of the bats which are responsible for which are responsible. Among those species, only one species is responsible for coronavirus or being the other host of the viruses. So killing the bat itself is wrong. Okay, then coming back to the topic, we are discussing about the virus, coronavirus. So what about this the structure of the virus? So this is the structure of the virus. Okay, so within that there is an RNA. So virus versus bacteria we have already discussed, right? What is the difference between virus and the bacteria? Now within the virus there is a genetic material, that is RNA. Then there is some spike protein in this form. A spike protein is there. Envelope protein, this is the form of the lipids are there. This is the envelope protein, these are the spike proteins, okay, in the mushroom shape. And these are the spike protein that are fused into our skin when the virus is dry. So they fuse to the human cells, allowing the virus to gain entry and replicate itself inside the body. Now, as we've discussed, the virus is neither live or not dead. It is in between. When it is in the host cell, it is live, it replicates itself. When it is outside, it is not living. So each virus particle around 50 to 200 nanometers in diameter, right? Okay, then from the name, why the name corona has come? Because the crown, this crown, mushroom shaped crown, is in Latin is called the corona, and this is how the virus has got its name, from its structure itself. Okay, right. So unlike the SARS, so spike protein of the coronavirus has much more affinity. So that means that mushroom shaped thing has much more affinity in addition to the cell, and that is why it is more, what we say, it is very difficult, it spreads faster than the SARS. Okay, so because of the strong bonder affinity, apparent high human to human transmission of the COVID-19. Okay, okay, then something about SARS. So SARS COVID-19 is same as SARS. They belong to the same family, so they are linked to each other genetically, right? However, they are different between, there are some subtleties different from SARS to the this, and that is why is also known as the SARS-CoV-2, because that virus has mutated to this. Okay, so from 2003 there hasn't been any case of the SARS. So how SARS was contained? So SARS was effectively eradicated by implementing very draconian measures top down, right? It is spread to only like major impact was in the China, in the Hong Kong area, right? And many of the, for example, currently lockdown measures and all these things were taken during the SARS also. We will see in the SARS also this social distancing, mask and all these things were there. So active case detection, isolation, contact tracing, quarantine, social distancing, community quarantine, these are not new terms. These are the terms there in the time of the SARS as well. Okay, we have not had that much because in India there was not much impact as compared to that much impact in the China, right? So there is no vaccine for SARS and no case has been reported since 2004. It leads to the shortness of the breath and the pneumonia like symptoms. Okay, then right, so recently the Chinese virologists have found the origin of the SARS to the single population of the horseshoe bats, specific bat species. Okay, so not all the bats are causing not all the bats are the host of this particular virus. So this is where SARS epidemic. So you can see the majority of the cases, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, and these places. In India, you can see very less cases. Okay, then. So prevention, like for example, COVID-19, as we have seen, there is no vaccine for now. For COVID, many vaccines are under development. So for SARS also, similar things, wash your hand, wear disposable gloves, wear surgical mask, wash personal item, disinfect surface, the same thing that is for the COVID as well. Then MERS, the origin of MERS can be seen in the Middle East. So name is also Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. And that is why some people have said that coronavirus COVID-19 should be termed as the China virus. Why? If you have termed it as the MERS Middle East, from where it is spread, this name should also be given for the coronavirus also. Right, so it is again a viral respiratory illness, first reported in the Saudi Arabia in 2012 and then spread to the other countries. So fever, cough, shortness of breath and all these things were there. So the same thing is there. So what you have to do, what you not have to do, same symptoms, similar symptoms and similar preventive measures as well. Now some difference were observed between the SARS and the MERS. For example, unlike the SARS, which affected more younger and healthier people, MERS affected the people which have underlying chronic conditions such as diabetes, kidney problem, BP and all these things. Okay, right. So 60% of the people with a chronic illness who contracted MERS died. So mortality rate of the MERS for the people who had the chronic illness was very high as compared to the SARS. 1%. In the COVID-19 also, Now the trends are evolving. For example, daily new fact comes in. Okay, this is another reason, because the more and more data will come, then only people will realize that what is the final thing. But still, the one of the consensus out there that if you have underlying condition of kidney problem, or diabetes even, or old age, then you are at more risk to the coronavirus. And that is how the advisories have been released as well. Then we are hearing the concept of the flattening of the curve. So what is this flattening of the curve? So curve basically, first let us see the diagram itself. So this is basically the diagram. So this is the capacity of the our healthcare infrastructure. Okay, now this is the capacity, means currently not virus time. For example, we remain like this, that some outbreak happens of dengue, for example, it is being contained because it is inside the our healthcare system. If it spikes, then these much people die, obviously, because this much um, we are not able to we are not capable to handle. Our healthcare system is not capable enough. So for that, in the COVID-19, if there is uncontrolled transmission, nothing is done, no lockdown, nothing, right? No mask, no lockdown, then it will increase up to, it will attain a peak and it will come down. Okay. However, if we take up the initiatives such as lockdown or social distancing, very specific thing, these things will do, reducing travel, staying at home, then what we do, we flatten the curve. We do not let it spike, rather the number of cases will increase, no problem. The number of cases represent the area under the curve. Number of cases will be there, however our healthcare system is able to take care of it. In fact, the same idea was there in the lockdown 1. What was the idea? So lockdown 1 idea was that we will flatten this curve. Secondly, what we will do, we will increase this line. We will increase this line. For example, we will improve our healthcare infrastructure. For example, you must have heard that China created its own hospital system. So on that line only. So we improve this particular line. We make this line upward. Okay. So this is how we improve, and we will reduce the number of people dying. Now, if you've seen, the mortality rate is very less. If person is properly attended, the ventilator systems are there, then he will not die. In 99% of the cases, the death will not occur if proper healthcare he is getting, right? However, if he is not getting the proper ventilator, if he is not getting the hospital system, then there is a large possibility that he or she will die, right? And that is how it depends upon the our healthcare infrastructure. Then this is the flattening the curve, and this is what they're trying. For example, in many of the countries like Spain, Germany, France, they have flattened the curve, right? If you read the news, it is said that they have flattened the curve. Now state healthcare capacity, it is under control. Now in the, for example, Spain and Italy, many of the news were coming, around 1,000 people were dying in a day. Why? Because the peak is happening. Now you can see it is under control. Then we have to understand that it is in the news that virus, you have to wash your hand many times, and wash not by water but wash by soap. Even the normal soap will work. So what is the process behind it? So in the virus, we have seen the protective cover of the lipid. Okay, this is the protective cover, and the soap has two parts. One is a hydrophilic and one hydrophobic. So this is hydrophilic part, this is the water molecule, and this is hydrophobic tail. This is the hydrophobic tail. So what happens when for example, you have virus in your hand and you take the soap, so this portion, this particles of the soap breaks into this lipid protective layer of the virus. So you can see this soap breaks into the protective layer of the virus, and within the virus, this system is destroyed and virus is killed. Getting my point? So this is the bond, it bonds with the water, and hydrophilic tail, hydrophobic tail, and all these things. So you need to remember this thing. So virus such as Ebola, Zika, coronavirus, they have genetic material in RNA, we have discussed, in the lipid cover, and this lipid envelope is destroyed by the soap. Similar is with the alcohol based sanitizers also. Okay, so there is it's called the crowbar effect, that breaks into the lipid envelope of the virus. It is called Crowbar effect. Okay. However, certain virus, it doesn't mean that all the virus are killed by that. Coronavirus is killed by that, but all the virus do not have the lipid cover. So it is not necessary that all the virus have the lipid cover. So they are called the non-enveloped virus. So focus that not all the virus have this thing. So every time it is not effective. But however, in the case of the coronavirus, it is effective. Then, for example, you give an example also, rotavirus. We've discussed the rotavirus, which causes severe diarrhea. Polio virus, all these viruses do not contain the lipid envelope. Right. Similarly, as we discussed, hand sanitizer, alcohol-based hand sanitizer are also there for the which can inactivate the virus. Right. Then discussing about the pandemic. So WHO has declared in the March coronavirus as the pandemic. So what is the criteria for discussing, or what, for example, is there a number of cases, quantity on basis of which the pandemic is declared? Answer is no. So pandemic is not declared with respect to any, has nothing to do with the characteristics of the disease. Rather, pandemic, that means geographical spread of it. Okay, so there is no threshold. This is the point you need to focus. There is no threshold. There is no certain number of cases which are then met, then it is declared as the pandemic. No, it is not like that. Okay, so last pandemic declared was 2009 H1N1 flu. Majority of the pandemics have been the influenzas one. Okay, so currently only one pandemic was active before coronavirus, which was HIV/AIDS. Right, so it is an epidemic of the disease that has spread across many regions. Most devastating pandemic was the Black Death. It killed around 7.5 to 20 crore people in the 14th century. Okay, right. So when the Black Death has come in 14th century, many people believe that it is the wrath of the god that we are facing. Wrath of the god, that god is not happy with the people, and that is why many people were killed. In fact, this pandemic, this Black Death, has led to many of the political changes as well. When you read about world history, it's not in our syllabus. However, if you are world history optional or you are interested, so this led to many of the changes, especially in the Europe and the Middle East. Right. Then related term is the public health emergency of international concern. So coronavirus declared the sixth declared global health emergency in the past decade. For example, other global emergencies are Zika virus, polio, Ebola outbreak, right? Influenza, that was in 2009. That was also the pandemic also. So this is a more formal declaration by the WHO. Okay, so in January it was declared. In January they have declared it as the public health emergency of the international concern, and in the March they have declared itself as a pandemic. Okay, right. So when the situation arises with serious, unusual and unexpected, then it becomes a public health emergency of the international concern. So what makes this? So as you discussed, so virus is a public health to the other states, then it require a coordinated international response. Okay, so international concerns require international response. So for example, what are the international response? We have seen WHO solidarity trial. Then we have discussed virtual G20 summit, WHO fund, and all these things we have discussed. Okay, so the decision for the EIC is made by the WHO's Director General and the committees of experts. WHO also remains in the news because Donald Trump has recently come out of the WHO, right, saying that WHO works on the whims and fancies of the Chinese. Then very important concept of herd community. This question can come. So what is basically herd community? See, very easily. So when a novel pathogen such as coronavirus, COVID-19 enters into a community, so no one has immunity to it, so many people are infected, right? Then many people who are recovered from the coronavirus, or if a vaccine is developed, then they have the immunity. So if those people have the immunity, right, so they have the healthy antibodies. So when they have the healthy antibodies with coronavirus, just one second, so they develop a shield type of system. So they shield the people who are at the risk of getting the virus. So it becomes a herd community. It takes hold when the pathogen cannot find the new host and stops the spreading, because coronavirus spreads by one person to the other person. Now this person if gets the immunity, then if this person gets the immunity, this person has the immunity, this person has the immunity, and these people do not have the immunity. However, these people are shielded by these people. Getting my point? These people get the immunity. It depends how they get the immunity. They can get the immunity by vaccination, or they can increase their immunity, or they were earlier infected by the coronavirus, they recovered from it. Okay, so this is how they develop it. So you can see, if most of the people have antibodies, virus is contained. Okay, so many of the people with no antibodies also are not infected by the virus, and this is how we develop the herd immunity. So let us discuss. So it's an indirect protection from the contagious infectious disease that happens when a population is immune either through vaccination or through previous infection. So they act as a buffer between the infected people and those who are not vaccinated. So I hope you are able to understand, right? So the ability of the disease to spread is hindered and eventually we eliminate it. Right. So yeah, earlier first time it was observed during the measles outbreak in 1930s. Okay. However, it does not apply to all the diseases. It applies only to diseases which are contagious, that is, which are from person to person. Okay, for example, tetanus, which is an infectious disease, which is caused by an infection. However, it is not a contagious disease. So herd immunity does not apply to the tetanus-like diseases. Right. So we have discussed this session. Let us quickly revise what we have done. So we started the discussion on coronavirus. We have discussed the structure and the physiology of the virus, why it is called the coronavirus, the protective cover, the crown, the spike protein, how it attaches to it, how the attachment has more strong bond in the coronavirus, novel coronavirus as compared to the SARS. Then we discussed about SARS and the MERS. We have seen that majority of the symptoms and the treatment itself is same, right? Absence of the vaccine is there. SARS, no case has been observed after 2003, right? Then we have discussed about flattening of the curve and the mechanism behind how the soap is able to is helping us to fight against the virus. Then how the pandemic is declared. Then public health emergency of the international concerns. It was earlier this more formal declaration. Here it is no specific quantitative parameters are there to declare it a pandemic. Then we discuss about herd immunity. So herd immunity is important. Many of the articles have also come on the herd immunity. Right. This question can come also for in your main also. Mains in science and tech. Herd immunity. Right. So however, many a times herd immunity, the problems with the herd immunity also there. Right. But those are for the main specific thing. Right then. So with this we finish our session, science and tech part 1. In the part 2, we will discuss some launch vehicles. In fact, the majority of the discussion in the science part 2 is focused on the launch vehicles also, where we'll discuss about SLVs, ASLVs, then PSLVs, then GSLVs, 2 types, Mark 1 and Mark 2. Okay then everyone, this is the second last lecture of the science. So we'll be finishing our 10th month science and tech with the science and tech till March month, started from the June month itself. So see you in the next class everyone. Bye bye for now. Thank you.